Hey, what's up guys? So, it's been a while since I've done a first impression, and here we are doing a first impression! How about that? So today I wanted to do a manga series that I recently finished about last week or so. So it's a new series I started, and honestly, I really shouldn't be starting new series. I should be finishing series I've started, but I have this bad habit of seeing something interesting, picking it off the shelf, and then trying it out anyway, even though I don't need a new series to start because I need to finish new. You know, it's an ongoing, bibliophile cycle, especially if you're into manga and whatnot. Anyway, today's manga is Alice in Murderland. So, I have noticed in the manga world, exploring the shelves and looking through Barnes & Noble's extensive list of manga, that there are lots of Alice in Wonderland reiterations, or what would you call it? I don't know, like, not really spin-offs, but just different versions of Alice. One I read is Are You Alice, which has a guy named Alice, and it's kind of like this mafia, whatever. It's an action type manga, which I've only read one volume of, but what I've read is pretty good. Another one that I really enjoyed was Alice in Borderland, or Eniwa no Alice, which was an OVA that does not have an English translated version of the manga, unfortunately, but I'm really hoping, because 4 episodes was not enough, and that show was amazing. Just check it out, by the way. There's also Alice in the Country of Hearts, as well as many other different anime and manga stories with an Alice in Wonderland theme. So I looked at this hardback book of Alice in Murderland, and I was just like, what an interesting title. And this cover is kind of interesting. And this is how I shop for books. Font type, cover. Now, I didn't just immediately buy it because of those things, because I don't like to judge a book by its cover. Because I pick up things and I'm like, oh, this looks interesting. I like the font. The title looks interesting. Let's read what the back says, and then we can decide whether I want to buy it or not. So this is what Alice in Murderland is about. The Kaori clan, owner of one of the world's top conglomerates, has a tradition. Once a month, family members attend a mad tea party. But at the latest gathering, the 9 Kaori siblings in attendance are shocked to hear a pronouncement issue from the lips of their mother, Olga. I'd like you children to now fight one another to the death. As chaos erupts, Stella, the 4th daughter, loses all reason, and suddenly a whole new Stella, complete with blonde hair and blue dress, comes out to play. Now let the mad tea party begin. So clearly this lands in the same realm of, Battle Royale, Hunger Games, Rabbit Out, survival murder games. And you guys, that I love that kind of stuff. If you have not watched my first impression on Doubt, that'll tell you everything on how I feel about survival games. I love them. I'm a total sucker for them when a new survival game comes out. When it comes to manga and anime and even movies, if it sounds interesting enough, I will give it a chance. I will give it the time of day and check it out. So clearly this one, I gave it some time. And honestly, it took me a little while to really get me into the story and kind of care about the characters. So our main character name is Stella, not Alice, but she's kind of, I don't know, they didn't really explain her character too much. She's I think she used to be an orphan with another character named Zeno, I believe. I'm sure editing will correct me if I'm wrong with names. And she was adopted by her mother, Olga Kuonji, and they kind of showed glimpses of their backstory of how that came about, the adoption, and that they show that this is the tradition of they have to kill each other and only one can survive type thing. The book starts a new cycle of mad tea party where they have to kill each other, but this time they say that whoever is the last person to live is going to be the heir to the Kuonji conglomerate. So they're going to be like the next heir, whoever lives, because only one of the bloodline has to live, even though Stella and Zeno, or whatever his name is, aren't really Olga's blood, but whatever. So they kind of explain the rules, and they each have to they go to this tea party dressed up, and they also have to bring their special someone, and their special someone is kind of kept not hostage, but I guess it's collateral or whatever. So I think when the person dies, then their special someone gets to be freed. So the Xeno person, I still feel like I'm not getting this character's name correct. So Zeno ends up choosing Stella as his special someone, or wanting to be her special someone or something for the tea party. So during the tea party, that's when the announcement goes with, you have till such and such time to kill someone. And so obviously someone does get killed, and their special someone is supposed to be released, but something happens to them. And of course, majority of the family does not want to go through killing their other family members because they all grew up together and they're all just kids. One of them is a little more bloodthirsty than the others, but it usually is like that. They also find out that there's something in the tea, which is what triggers Stella to turn into Alice, with the blonde hair, blue eyes, and blue dress. And, of course, the weaponry. So, I probably kind of said a little more than I should have about the story, but that's pretty much what happens in this first volume. Like I said in the beginning, it took me a bit of time to get into it. Stella's an okay character. Her love and devotion towards, her, I guess, adoptive brother or brother-like figure, their relationship's quite interesting, and I kind of, guilty pleasure, like, kind of that pseudo-incestuous relationship in a way, I guess. If it's done right, it can be really interesting, but I just in general, I like their relationship. It's not really romantic or anything, it's more protective. And the characters are kind of interesting too, and the dynamic of how just the mystery of the Kuonji family is intriguing, and that kind of kept me reading to find out more, because there's some reincarnation powers and whatnot in it too, and yeah, don't know what to say, but it is interesting. Once I got to the end, I was like, oh my god, I gotta find out what happens next, but honestly, I'm not really in a rush to find out, so I probably won't be jumping onto the second volume very quickly, which is kind of a good thing for me, because like I said, I really don't need to be starting a new series, and I need to finish the series that I've already started to just knock stuff off of my my anime list or my manga list thing. I mean, I did enjoy it. I thought the characters were interesting and stuff. I also like the artwork. I mean, this is quite beautiful. A lot of detail. I think the Xeno character is pretty interesting too, so lots of more stuff. And you probably saw some of the clippage during the reading of the synopsis, but yeah, I like the art. The art style is very intricate and very, I don't know, I've never seen, such detail, I guess. I mean, I've seen detail in such stuff like this, but it's just kind of fascinating seeing all of the workings and stuff. A slight criticism I have is occasionally the humor kind of throws me off for the moment. When something like serious or not so great happens, and then you have this like cutesy humor or something silly that happens randomly, it kind of, I don't know, ruins the tone for me a bit. But maybe the second volume does a better job of it. I think that kind of humor would work maybe a little bit better if it was animated, maybe, because I see that a lot in anime, but not so much in manga, where it's like, oh, someone's died, it's blood everywhere, or they're mourning over the death of someone. They just can't believe what just happened to them because they transformed into something they can't really explain. And then all of a sudden, cutesy character comes in and does like a cute little thing, and it's really adorable and kind of silly. And you're just like, I mean, I'm sure it's supposed to be like an awe or a hee-hee moment or whatever, but it's just kind of off-putting. Nonetheless, I will eventually check out the second volume of Alice in Murderland. It is a pretty good read. It might take you a little bit of time to really get into the groove of a story, and you still might have some adjusting to do, probably progressing to the next volume, because I feel like that's how I kind of feel. The ending definitely is a good enough cliffhanger to keep going and to figure out what the heck's gonna happen with Zeno and Stella and the rest of the family, and see how or who survives in the end. But for now, the journey is going to be put on pause. So that is Alice in Wonderland. Alice in Murderland, my bad, by Kaori Yuki. The first volume, and it is rated older teen for violence and language, and a little bit of gore, I guess. Most likely that's probably why it's rated older teen. But check it out, and that's the end of my first impression for Alice in Murderland. If you like this first impression and want to see more, click that like button, and if you want, subscribe if you haven't already done it. Like, what are you doing with your life? I put videos up every now and then. Thank you so much for watching, and catch me next time on another first impression, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!